Hi everyone, Jon Zuzga with ZUMA Concepts. Today I'm bringing you a video on how to accurately shoot tight groups at 135 yards with the Ravin crossbow. In this video I'm using my R15. I've used this for a lot of years. I've had an R20. I shot both for a while and then I decided to sell my R20. I actually liked my R15 a little bit more. Just seemed like it was a little more solid built. But the things that I'm going to cover in this are the same elements that you have to look at no matter what Ravin platform you're using. All of these technical details to try and accomplish this type of grouping at this range are relevant. And I'm going to go through them with you and show you all the things as this video progresses on what you should be looking for and how to achieve those things, what types of tools you'll need, and the different elements that'll affect your shot at different ranges. So again, I just want to throw this video together. I talk a lot about 135 yard shot in my videos, and I thought it would be important for me to show you guys, one, that I can actually do it, and two, walk you guys through how to understand what it takes to accomplish this, and then give you the information you need so you could in turn do that yourself. Let's jump out to the range and I'll walk you through this step by step as I'm going. So for starters, I'm going to be doing this shot standing, and I'm going to be using the BOG Death-grip. I've used this in another video and I've expressed how much I like it. I'm going to show you in this video why I like it so much. To stabilize the back of the bow and to give me a little bit more precision on dialing in and holding that tight on the target where I want it, I'm going to be using my Allen bipod, which I cross the legs, and what I'll do is I get my scope pretty much right where I want it, and then I adjust this so that as I slide this, I can make minor adjustments. And then also, when I twist this, I can make left and right adjustments. And all I do is I hold this like this, and then I make the twist. And I'll zoom in on this so you can see it. I'm gonna cock this, get an arrow in here, and I'm gonna show you some other stuff that I look at just before I start to go after a shot like this. So here's where I say I make that fine adjustment. When I'm holding this, I can slide that in and it moves the bow up and down real slightly. And then when I twist this, it actually moves the bow left and right. Now the next thing I look at is you'll see I have the camera positioned so that it's perfectly aligned, so this string looks like one string. If I lift that up, you can see both. But what you're gonna wanna do is get it so it looks like one. And all you're gonna do is, you're gonna do this with just your line of sight.
You're going to get your arrow in and then position your head to make sure that the cable is center on your shaft, so then you can reference the alignment of your vane. And then you're going to look at the reference of the front of the vane to the back of the vane and how it sits on the cable. And it's not going to sit even because of the twist of the vane, but you're looking for it to be consistent to both sides. And the reason you're doing this is you want that orange cock feather to hit dead center between your front two rest rollers. And again, this is one of those variables that I talk about that's absolutely critical to your accuracy. If that cock feather is bumping those on their way out, it's going to influence your arrow's flight. And at 135 yards, you can't afford to have stuff like that happen. So another element to extreme consistency. Next thing I want to show you is this view of the rangefinder to show it's 135 yards to this target. And I added this bit of video in here because I want to take the time to explain to you guys that for me to accomplish this, it actually took me a couple of days. I ran into some problems, and you'll see in this video my arrows are all over the place. And I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on, so I had to back up and look at my bow, and I wanted to share all this because I don't want you guys to think that this stuff comes easy. There's a lot of variables to this, and there's a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of shooting. And what I'd found was when I replaced my cables, I looked like I was in a good spot as far as my timing indicators looked, but if you look really closely here, and I'll zoom in, it's a little bit favoring the bottom side or the orange arrow. And I didn't think this would matter, but because I was seeing the issue, I wanted to address all things, and I started here, and lo and behold, this little bit of movement made all the difference. And you can look, and it hardly made a difference as far as moving up, but it's just a touch more centered, a little bit more perfect, and it brought my group back together. And you'll see in this next set of shots and clips what I'm talking about. To show you guys this video, I actually set up another phone that I have and put it on FaceTime, and it's downrange sitting by the target so that you could see this clip here and watch the shots as they're happening. I did that for two reasons: one, for authenticity of the video, and two, for you guys to see a way that you can set up and watch your shots at long distance without having to use a spotting scope or anything like that. And it's kind of nice, gives you like a TV screen to look at rather than trying to look through binoculars or anything else. Just a little tip for you guys, might be helpful for you on the range. So the next part of this video is me shooting. You can see how I check the vane position, and then I just did a clip of a shot and then a slow motion of the shot with a zoom in to see the hit. And this first set is with the Luminox on the arrow. And I do one with Luminox and without Luminox to show you the difference in accuracy. The reason that this happens is there's a battery and some other things inside of that Luminox, and every time you shoot, those move. And it causes your arrows to lose really tight grouping consistency, and you'll see that from this video. Now, anything out to 80 yards, you're fine. This Luminox thing is more of, like your competition shooters or hitting the range with your buddies, want to be the most accurate you can possibly be. I'd recommend dropping the Luminox, and you'll see from this video why. It's a little bit lengthy, but I wanted you to see every shot and get a good understanding of how much time it takes to dial your bow into this precision and really get an understanding of it. And another thing I do while I'm doing this with the Luminox at 135 yards is I'm identifying which arrows remain consistent by using my markings on the vane and documenting that. I don't really show that in the video, but you'll notice as I'm pulling the arrows, I'm kind of making notes. But that's so I can identify what I want to use as my hunting arrows, because they're the most consistent nock that I have that doesn't have any drift issues due to the weight distribution changing after each shot. As you can see in this video, it seemed like there was, 3, maybe 4 arrows that would repeatedly do well, and I have those marked down. Those will be my hunting arrows. But I couldn't get the whole group to remain consistent, but I did have those 3 that I could count on, and that's what I was talking about earlier in the video. I'm going to yank these Nocks. I'm going to put in the regular plastic Nocks and let you see the results from that. Now I'm shooting the regular Nocks, and my first few shots you're going to see are way off to the right, and essentially what I had to do is see where it was hitting and then readjust my scope. There is a difference between the 2 Nocks. They're obviously performing different, coming out of the bow differently, and so I had to make some corrections there, and you'll see that as I'm going through this what I ended up doing. Here's me making the adjustment, and in order to do that I take and I reset where I was aiming, and then I move the crosshairs to the arrow, and that just repeating that action will get you close, and then once you're super close at this range, then you're going to just move by just slight clicks. And I'm going to be working through this process, and I wanted you to see how many shots it took and how many rounds it took for me to develop a group and an accuracy that I was confident in. And you'll see that once you get to the end of this video, how tight these things shoot and how I was able to dial it in and get a really great group at 135 yards. This is my first set. Like I said, it drug from to the right. I adjusted it to the left, and now you're going to watch me shoot my next group. And again, these arrows are dancing around on here, and it's primarily because I'm making adjustments and trying to get this thing dialed right to where I want it. And it takes time. Sometimes you over adjust, sometimes you under adjust, but you got to keep with it until you get an accurate, repeatable shot, and that's what I'm working at towards here. As you can see from this, them look like they're really tight, and here's a close-up. These arrows were touching, and this is 135 yards to get a group like that where potentially damaging the arrows. In this next set of shots, I'm going to be doing some more adjusting, so you'll see it drift across, but the groups will remain tight. You'll see groups of 2 on this one. Every 2 shots I was making adjustments, and it took me a little bit to get back and forth. I over-adjusted and then had to correct. And then we're getting close here for you to see the last sequence of shots where I had a good placement with my crosshairs and able to show you the grouping of arrows and the consistency when all of the variables that I've been discussing are taken into account and carefully managed. So in a second here, we'll be wrapping this sequence up, and you'll be able to look at the close-up picture I took, and you'll see that the arrows drifted back and forth, but they were in pretty decent groups of 2 as I was making my adjustments. And right here you can see I adjusted to the left and back to the right. And now this is my final sequence of shots, and I got everything dialed into where I wanted it. And once this concludes, I'll be doing some close-ups and showing you how tightly this grouped. And again, this isn't an easy process. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of persistence, takes a lot of tenacity. When I first started this video sequence, I was having some troubles with it, and it took me 3 days at the range and messing with and tuning the bow to figure out where I was having my issues. And it's a good feeling to get it figured out, and I'd encourage you guys to not give up on your equipment. work through everything you run into. And a lot of the reasons I make these videos is to hopefully save you guys some time and money, and not having to go through too much of this on your own, and give you a quick jump to seeing what the variables are that you should be looking at and tracking and keeping a close eye on. And there it is. That's the last type group. Pretty accurate for 135 yards to be able to pull that off, keep them in that small of a ring. There's a lot to be said about that. And these are factory Zombie Slayer arrows, fletched by Black Eagle.
All right, so there it is. That's how you're able to accurately accomplish this type of a grouping at 135 yards with your Ravin crossbow. Hope you liked the information you found here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Be safe out there, guys, and have a good one.